Check out these cookie dough brownies. Hey guys, it's Colleen from Bakes and Blenders. Today's recipe is super simple but crazy delicious. So if you love edible cookie dough and rich fudgy brownies, let's just dive right in. For the edible cookie dough, you're going to want to start by heat treating your flour to kill any bacteria. Let the flour cool completely and then sift it into a bowl. Cooking the flour first makes it a little chunky, so you definitely do want to sift it. Add your salt, whisk, and set your dry ingredients aside. Add your butter, brown sugar, and white sugar to a bowl and beat with an electric hand mixer until everything is well combined. Scrape the bowl down, then you can beat in your vanilla. You'll find the recipes used in this video in the description box below. Now it's time to mix in our dry ingredients. The great thing is we're not going to be baking this cookie dough, so you don't have to worry as much about over mixing the dough. Just go ahead and beat it until it is nice and combined. It's looking pretty dry and crumbly at this point, and that's okay. Instead of egg, we're going to throw in a little bit of milk to help bind our cookie dough together. Once the dough's at a really nice consistency, you can fold in your chocolate chips. Line an 8 by 8 inch baking dish with cling wrap, then gently press in your edible cookie dough. This is the same baking dish that you're going to be using for your brownies, and so by using that to shape our cookie dough layer, it's going to be super easy and we'll have the perfect fit for our cookie dough. Now at some point it might seem like there's not enough cookie dough, but if you just work carefully and steadily to use your spatula to press out the cookie dough, you will end up with a nice even layer that's going to be the perfect amount. Once you're happy with your dough, go ahead and cover it with the extra bit of cling wrap, and you can use that to kind of smooth over the surface in case you've left any marks. Then place your pan in the fridge for at least an hour, but I prefer to make the cookie dough the day before. Time to make the brownies. Start by lining your 8 by 8 inch baking dish with parchment paper. It helps to lightly spray the pan first with some baking spray so the parchment paper will stick. Set that aside and we'll get started on our dry ingredients. Sift together the flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, and salt. Then give that a whisk to combine and set them aside. Beat the softened butter, brown sugar, and white sugar on a medium to medium-low speed until combined. This will take a few minutes. You want the butter and sugar to be very well combined, nice and creamy, but unlike a cake, you're not trying to incorporate a ton of air. If you do, you will end up with a more cakey brownie, which is not the end of the world, so don't worry. Scrape your bowl down and go ahead and add the eggs one by one, making sure to beat in the egg after each addition. Once that's combined, go ahead and add your vanilla. If you're enjoying this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see more of my videos. Now you can go ahead and add your dry ingredients. I like to use the hand mixer just to get things started, but once it begins to come together, I switch to my spatula and just fold the brownie batter until there are no more dry streaks or dry pockets. Now that the brownie batter is finished, you can go ahead and pull out your prepared baking pan. Plop that batter right down into the center of your pan and use a small offset spatula to begin spreading out the batter. It is quite thick and you're going to have to work carefully so that you don't mess up your parchment paper lining. Use a back and forth motion to work the batter into all four corners of the pan and then smooth it out so that it is nice and even. Because it is a thick batter, it's not going to level out completely on its own, so you do want to make sure that it is nice and even before you put it in the oven. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. Once your brownies are completely cool, we can go ahead and assemble our cookie dough brownies. Start by spreading a thin layer of chocolate ganache over your brownies. This is going to act like a delicious glue that's going to hold our cookie dough and our brownies together so that they don't slide apart when we go to eat them. About 30 minutes to an hour before you start assembling the brownies, you want to take the cookie dough out of the fridge so that it has time to soften up. You want it to be pliable, but you don't want it to be so soft that it's difficult to work with. Now, you might notice that I have a glove on one hand, and that is because I gave myself a severe burn with a hot mug while the brownies were baking. So just be careful with hot mugs, guys. Carefully unwrap and transfer the cookie dough on top of the ganache coated brownies and press down so that the cookie dough and the ganache will kind of stick together. Then you can cover the brownies and place them in the fridge to chill for at least 30 minutes before slicing and serving. I've got my chilled brownies and I'm using this really awesome pastry cutter to make sure I'm going to get nice, even cuts on my brownies. The pastry wheel gives you nice score lines in the dough. It's not going to cut through all the way. Then you can use those guidelines to use a nice big knife to slice those brownies up. You can find links to the products that I've used in the description box below this video. Now, I wanted nice big brownies for my photos and because I love a big brownie. But this is one heck of a brownie. I did 9 servings, but I highly recommend cutting them into 16 servings for a more manageable portion size. These cookie dough brownies are incredible. You've got that thick, chewy, fudgy brownie topped with delicious, edible cookie dough. In my opinion, it's the best of both worlds. Now, if you're a big chocolate lover, go ahead and hit up that playlist on your screen right now. I'll see you in the next video. Happy baking!